They charged me with resisting arrest.
Get that confidence in jail.
I object.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode, another one. We're still here of Allegedly Bravo. I'm Lauren.
Hi, and I'm Cash. I can't
Hello.
believe we're still kicking.
We're still kicking.
How have you been?
I've been pretty good. Just got back from Arizona. Wow. You know, it's funny because obviously it's no secret that I've been stuck in the cold here,
Yeah.
and that my arms and legs haven't seen the light of day since October, and my skin is translucent at this point. So going out to Arizona, I was fucking stoked. I opened up my bag of clothes that has been vacuum sealed that I could only wear in California. And I packed everything so like airy and tank tops, sandals. It hailed.
Oh,
It fucking hailed. I was but I'm not dressed for this. I came in tank tops and sandals. But it was still fun.
The hail, though, in Arizona, I feel like it's like a tropical storm.
Right. It's like, let's be realistic here, though. I did stand in the hail in a tank top. Just because you still can,
Yeah.
How are you?
Just working away. Nothing exciting. No updates in my life.
That's kind of exciting.
But I do feel, I'm just stoked to be here. Talk about the housewives,
I know. It's the perfect Saturday, as always.
It's a perfect Saturday. It's gorgeous up here. Sun's out.
Yeah, here too, actually.
I'm actually looking out to the pool and it looks like the buns are out too.
Sun's out, buns out.
Sun's out, buns out. There are people. The pool is a poppin'.
Ooh, I'm so jealous.
I know. So, you guys, just as a brief update, we are doing a debriefing episode again.
I'm like addicted to these debriefing episodes.
It's fun because it's not so much of a lecture. It's more of a conversation,
I know. It's kind of fun.
When you do one topic, it feels like you're back in school.
Yeah.
And so we want to keep it fun. So what we're going to do is because I feel like the housewives have been on one and the episodes have been so good. So we're going to do a little debrief on Real Housewives of Orange County, Real Housewives of New Jersey. We're going to give some thoughts and opinions on that. And then we're going to move into our topic.
Yep.
Which is a wild one. This was Lauren's idea, even though she doesn't watch this franchise.
I just started this season.
We are going to do a breakdown of the Real Housewives of New Jersey house husbands' legal woes.
Oh my God. I'm actually so excited for you to tell me all this stuff because it's like, I just started this season, right? Like I watched a little bit. I think I watched all of season 1. I hated it, like got irritated. And then I started this season because I was getting FOMO for real. And now I do want to go back and watch, and I'm invested, and I'm so excited to hear you tell me about these people that I just don't know. I'm excited.
And I will preface that there is somewhat of a theme amongst these husbands. And we don't talk about all of the legal issues within New Jersey because let me just tell you, there's a lot.
We'd be here forever.
I think we picked 3 or 4 fun ones just to discuss. But before we get into that, let's break down the Real Housewives of Orange County episode.
Okay, well, I'm kind of worried we're going to get into a fight. Because I don't think we have the same opinion at all.
Okay. So give us an overview. What happened this episode?
So here we come. Here we are. We're in Aspen, and holy fuck, like this house. Okay.
Stunning.
You know what it made me think of? Like, remember when Stephanie from Dallas had that house with the pool in the living room, and everyone was like, what the fuck? Cover up the pool in the living room. And so they covered up the pool that was in the living room. Then I saw this house in Aspen, and I was like, go put a hole in my living room. I need a pool in my entryway right meow.
Yeah.
Right now. Do it now.
I think that this has to be one of the most stunning houses that we've ever seen on any Housewives franchise.
Any Housewives franchise.
it made the Tahoe vacation rental Beverly Hills use look like
something I would rent.
a rundown. Yeah, like a rundown lake rental.
Exactly. Like a typical Lake Tahoe rental, just your average lake house.
And my question to you is,
so
Emily organized this?
I think they just couldn't let Heather organize another one.
Okay.
Because I don't think Emily, listen, Emily is a genius lawyer, smart businesswoman. I just don't get and like most lawyers, not really great at organizing shit. Like that's why they have assistants, because they're busy doing other things.
Preach. Yeah. You guys, I can't organize anything to save my life anymore. Like exactly. I have become so deeply dependent on assistants and paralegals. Like they are
the backbone of the legal industry.
Backbone, like they're everything.
Like everything. Don't go to law school, go be a paralegal, because you're probably writing 100% of whatever is the judge's reading.
Oh, the paralegals do not get enough credit. And I feel like some people look down on them. Like, oh my God, why would you do that? No, they're legitimately the most intelligent,
oh my God,
kindest, greatest people out there. And I would be lost without my paralegals. I can tell you that.
And especially when you have a question about calendaring something or a due date. Oh my God. I mean, they can whip a date right out of their ass. They're 26 days, court days. So November 3rd, you're like, whoa.
Exactly.
Don't forget we have a holiday. You have to skip it. It's crazy.
It is. Wait, really quickly, going back to Orange County, when you were talking about Emily and, them not allowing Heather probably to do another vacation.
Yeah.
That just got me thinking, in no way was I insinuating that Emily doesn't have the financial means to do this.
Right.
Because just like you said in New York City a while ago, that you think that Sonia Morgan is one of the wealthiest housewives on that franchise. I actually think Emily and Shane
me too.
have deep pockets of familial generational wealth, because
and I think he's very well invested.
I think that their family, because we've gotten those cutaway scenes when they're at the parents' house, when they have the baptism for the daughter. I think that think it's gorgeous, obviously, and stunning, but that is in no way a reflection of the amount of money they have. I think that they have Heather Dubrow money.
I don't think Heather Dubrow has Heather Dubrow money, but I think that Shane's parents have Heather Dubrow money.
You heard it here first.
Shane's parents are the real Dr. and Mrs. Guinea Pig.
Wow. I mean,
I'm just saying, I'm sorry. I've never seen a fruit tray like that at Heather's house.
Oh, it's because, something I learned when I worked at this destination spa where we got very, very wealthy individuals coming in, and it's that quote, new money speaks, old money.
Wealth whispers.
Wealth whispers. Yeah. There was such a difference between old wealth, inherited wealth, and new money. New money was spend, lavish, talked about it. Old money just sat back and watched.
Right.
And so I think that's what we got: the new money, Heather Dubrow, and we got the old money, the Simpsons. Just saying.
I'm just saying, listen, if I were to go to a party, let's just be real. If Heather Dubrow's Nobu party and Shane's parents' party that we just had for the girls' baptism or whatever were on the same day at the same time, back in the day when kids had birthday parties, same day, same time.
Yeah.
You had to pick. I would pick Shane's parents' party every single fucking time based on the fruit platter alone.
And the food. Yep.
I don't care if you're spending 10 grand on sushi. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't. No, I want the rice. I want the
kebabs.
I want the kebabs. I want like some grilled veggies. I want a little bit of oil that I got to shake off some of my veggies. You know what I mean?
No, I agree.
I'm hungry now.
Oh my God. Okay. So sorry, guys. God,
okay. So yes, I know we're very bad at this. I did take my Wellbutrin today, so I'll try better.
Okay. Never mind. Never mind. I'm not even going to say it. Not even going to say it.
Focus. Okay. So I'll continue. So then like these women, okay, they show up at this glamorous house and the most fun thing happened. I don't know if I'm the only one. I mean, obviously I'm the only one who caught this because I'm like just such a good watcher, but no, I'm kidding. But when they were all picking rooms and Noella's like, oh, I want the master bedroom because my dad died, you know? And Heather's like, my dad died. What room do I get? I'm like, dude, your dad died a while ago. This girl's dad just died. And also like, let her play the dad card. I'm sorry. Just let her play it. You only get to play it once in your life.
No,
play the card.
This is where we're going to get into a fight.
Okay. I know.
So we're going to table that because we're going to come back to that once we get to our highs and lows of the episodes.
Okay. Well, my favorite part is Heather goes, okay, yeah, I mean, I don't really mean anything too big. I'll take the other master. It's like, okay. And then Noella, who I fucking adore, which is another thing we're going to fight about, is like, oh, like, you know, actually I want that master because you go to bed early. I have to say, I agree with Noella because if Heather Dubrow had the bedroom that had the jacuzzi in front of it,
yeah,
Heather Dubrow shuts things down. She's the queen of shutting things down. And I want to see a full ass jacuzzi party and Noella's just the one to do it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. So then my favorite part though was when they did all the rooms and somehow Heather ended up in the basement like Luann, good night from the lower level. Okay, that's it.
Okay, so then they go to the dinner party. They get drunk. They were all hammered.
Wasted.
They were wasted. They get on the bus. They fight. They get into it. So my question to you, what is your biggest takeaway from this episode?
Okay. My biggest takeaway is that I believe 100% that something happened with Heather Dubrow at that night. I don't know if she pushed the person. I don't think she probably laid hands on her, but or them, but I wouldn't be surprised if Heather like took a camera and pushed it down and was like, we're not doing this. Like I could see myself doing something like that. And I think that Noella probably saw that and then was like, well, I saw that you did something and someone told me this.
But we know based on the contradictory statements that happened at dinner that she did not actually see it. And it was hearsay. And she was repeating what somebody said. And so Heather Dubrow called her out on it and said, wait, you just told us that you saw it. And now you're saying you didn't see it. So what is it? And I think that what they're talking about is that moment where they do the flashback where Heather puts her hand on the camera and said, no, we're done. And she lightly turns the camera.
Right.
Probably inappropriate. Yeah. But in the moment, that was intense. Right. I don't think that Heather Dubrow slammed somebody because that's the thing. Like the story starts to become over exaggerated and develops just even when they're sitting at the table. Like at first it's she pushed the cameraman and now she's like slamming somebody against the wall and like pushing. I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
I want the footage.
I think Noella is a psychopath.
Mm-hmm.
And my biggest takeaway, very contradictory.
Yeah.
My biggest takeaway is that I actually found Heather Dubrow to be quite likable this episode.
Oh my God.
And it very much started with her at the house when Noella made the comment of like, my dad died, and Heather Dubrow walks out and rolls her eyes and she's like, what? And I agreed with her in that moment because it would have been different like if Gina had said it, but for some reason when Noella says it, like everything she talks about, it's this victim mentality. And of course it's so sad that her father passed away and, you know, the divorce she's going with, I think everyone recognizes it, but I think she just takes a story and just like, for lack of a better word, like beats it to death. And it becomes annoying to the cast members because it's like, oh, here we go again.
Yes. And to play devil's advocate, aka stick up for my girl Noella, who I adore. I think it just so happens like all the shit is hitting the fan on camera as we speak. And so, you know, her dad died the day she had to go to a party. Like, obviously she's going to talk about it. And I will say it is kind of weird. Like you and I, if we were somewhere and someone's like, my dad died, like I get the big room. Like I can see probably you rolling your eyes and me being like, man, whatever, let her have it. You know what I mean? And then, but if this were New York, that would have been the beginning of a 3-episode arc.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like, I can see Noella pulled the right move in the wrong city.
But also she was like, I want this room. I want that room.
I know. I was loving that. I think she was doing it just to get under Heather Dubrow's skin.
Well, no, go ahead.
My controversial opinion is I think, and this might be wild, but I think Heather Dubrow has met her match with Noella because Noella has been on public planes, private jets, because, you know, of that crazy husband of hers. Mm-hmm. So it's not something exciting to her. She goes on grand vacation, so it's not really exciting to her. She has a huge mansion, so she's like, whatever. Noella's new money too. So all of this, like she, Noella's like, whatever. I eat at Nobu too. Whatever. I do this too. Like, why does anybody care? And I think she uses that to like kind of just like jab at Heather, and she made Heather lose her shit. And I loved it.
I agree that she's doing it to jab at Heather, but I think Heather sees it as total conjecture and it not being real. Like it's not real. She's just saying it because she knows it's going to annoy Heather, and Heather sees through that it's fabricated and it's false and it's just being used as like a manipulation tactic. But
sorry, I totally keep cutting you off, but I love Noella. So I feel like I really have to go to bat for her. I feel like with Heather, this is yet again another just example of Heather. You know, it's like with the, you sued my husband for malpractice, and it went from, no, I didn't, to shut it down, pull the plug, everybody leave, no one's having dinner, blah. And then for this, it's like, I saw you push someone. No, you didn't. Take it back. You're not supporting me. Take it back. And it's like, my God, like if it's not true, just be like, oh my God, what a freak.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I didn't like the way that Heather handled it at the dinner, but I still think that there were moments of, I don't know why I liked her.
Because her veneer came off, I think, a little. We saw realness in there in terms of anger.
Well, and moving into the biggest complaint about the episode, that just gets me on my Noella bandwagon. When we were I just find her soft tone to be so annoying and manipulative. Like when she's in her confessionals and she uses this, I can't even do it.
I can do it. When she's like, yeah, I just don't know why Heather would do something like that. It's not genuine. It's not genuine. And I thought Emily Simpson, when they were in the van, called her out on it so well. When she's like, because I can't remember the exact quote of what Noella says. And then Emily's like, shut the fuck up, Noella. Like, I love Emily this season.
Like, you're just pretending.
Yeah.
Like nothing happened. And like, you're playing all coy and, oh yeah.
Okay.
And
it's then
so fake. It's
to
fake.
Support my girl. Heather did say when Noella was like, I would love to have a conversation with you about this if you're going to be open to that. And Heather was like watching the lady make French fries. And she's like, not right now, Noella. It's like, she plays right into Noella's little card. Like, she's like, Noella's like, here's my soft baby voice. And now you're going to be the mean one if you say no. And then Heather says no.
It's
and then she's like, okay, well, I guess we'll never solve it. Seems important to you. Next thing you know, what does Heather do? Fine. Oh, you want to talk about it? I'm like, this is what I want. So your biggest complaint is Noella.
Which is your biggest takeaway.
I love her. I would die for her at this point. She's my favorite one on the show at this point.
Okay, well, that's going to stir up some controversy, I'm sure, with some listeners. So moving on, I mean, we'll see what happens next week. I'm telling you, Orange County is having a great season. Mm-hmm. Great season.
I agree.
And as much as I dislike Noella and dislike Heather, even though I do find her to be likable right now, It's what our TV, it's what we need.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So now moving on to a post-episode debriefing for Roni. Oh my God.
No, RHONJ. What do you say for that? RHONJ? What do you say for that?
Real Housewives of New Jersey. Wow. Slip of the tongue.
I know. It's on the mind. Big news coming out, you know?
I know. Well, TBD, we'll see what happens with that. Yeah. Okay. So with Real Housewives of New Jersey, we finish up the tree adventure. We get the recap of what happens. The ladies are pissed off at Teresa for like stoking the fire again with the drama, right? And then also being like, fuck you all, I'm leaving, but here's my athletic gear.
But wear this.
But please wear this.
Yeah.
And then we get a therapy session with Jackie, which I thought was really cool.
Oh, so vulnerable.
Yeah. And the fact that she like vocalized that she suffers from an eating disorder and that it's something like she didn't realize how bad it was. And I just love their family. Like their kids are my fucking favorite.
They're a very, very, very nice relationship to watch too. Like I really like, what's his name? Evan. I liked, you know, when he was talking with her about what happened at her therapy and, you know, the suggestion that the therapist gave and how he was just like, you know, I love you no matter what. Like I've known this about you forever and I want to support you and I want you to get better. Like I loved that. And it was so refreshing to see after like Bill Aiden.
Okay. So again, remember what we said about the Simpsons versus DeBro's wealth?
Yeah.
I think that the Jackie Goldschneider?
Wow.
I think her and Evan are miles and miles and miles above Bill and Jen Aiden in terms of wealth.
Interesting.
I think that again, they have generational wealth that is like well invested. Yes, because but and now move. Okay. Sorry. Somebody just walked by. Chris might make a
little barky bark.
A little barky bark. Yeah. So, and then, okay. Moving away from Jack. Well, moving away from Jackie. Then we have, I can't remember if this came first or second, but we have the awkward dinner with Bill and Jen.
I loved that dinner. What did Jennifer Aiden take before she sat down?
She had I don't know. I think she had maybe 4 margaritas before she actually went to the dinner, but Bill just looks, I give her credit because she's calling him out and she's saying, this is what I need in the relationship. Right. And Bill, you can just tell his skin is crawling. And he's like, I don't want to talk about this on camera.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? Don't fucking cheat on your wife.
So I want to ask you, do you think that this relationship is their potential demise, or do you think that they're going to work through this?
Here's the deal. I think the ball right now, after that conversation and not knowing these people for more than a couple weeks, I feel like
I forget about that.
Yeah. Like Jennifer Aiden sat down, looked at her husband and said, by the way, I put in X amount of years of work and I'm done and I'm mad at you. And now it's your turn to try. And if you don't, I get half. And I have no problem with that. Yeah. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Soldier girl, tell him.
I loved it. And I thought it was, so moving on, so we get to the softball game. I did think it was a little fucked up that he didn't go to the game.
Of course he didn't go to the game. He's a little bitch boy. I can't stand him.
Okay, so now we're going to go into our biggest takeaways of the episode. And so I thought that the softball game was like one of the greatest moments of Real Housewives television for some reason. Like, even though it was only 10 minutes, I think it's going to be something that happens every year. Did you like the amount of people that were there?
I was going to say, I couldn't understand, what was Dolores raising money for?
For I believe it was the breast cancer, one of the clinics or the hospital there that treats breast cancer patients. And so they were, it was the Jersey cast versus the doctors of that hospital. Because the line, or doctor's office,
the line for people to get in, I was like, this is actually so cool. And I agree with you. I liked it so much better than, like, remember back in the day when we would get Beverly Hills ladies doing like not Peloton, what do they call it? Soul Cycle classes for charity and things like that. This was so much more fun. And to get the families involved and for there to be a crowd instead of just like people in a dark room riding bikes and hating themselves, it was so fun.
It was amazing. And I'm wondering, it's like, do we want to keep it a part of Jersey or do we want to make it its own like summer special where then we have Real Housewives of New Jersey versus RHONY or Real Housewives of New Jersey versus Beverly Hills cast.
You know
and
what?
we do these like all-star baseball games or softball games.
I think that's cute. Here's the deal. Remember when didn't they have that for the Olympics one year? Like Housewives Olympics or something? Am I hallucinating? I feel like there was an Olympic episode of something.
I don't remember. I don't recall that at all.
Well, whatever it is, I feel like I love this being specific to Jersey because there's a family aspect of Jersey that like you don't get everywhere else. Like when I was watching this episode and the girls were sitting around the counter at Dolores's house, just like splitting a coffee and having a snack. I was like, that's how I am with my friends. Like,
that's why I love Jersey.
Exactly. It's like, we're not doing some weird thing where we're showing up at a restaurant decked out from head to toe. You know, it's like, no, we got coffee. We're pouring it into cups so we can split it and we're spilling tea now.
Yeah.
Go, you know,
that's why I love Jersey.
Yeah.
So what was your biggest complaint about the episode of the season so far?
So far, I think that Bill Aiden I think he's the worst husband we've seen on this show. I really do. He's worse than Jim Bellino to me. I really do think so. I really do. Because at least Jim Bellino pretended he loved his wife. This guy's such an asshole. And Jen is so kind and nice, and she's raising good kids. And, you know, she's doing her best. And this guy's just like, can we move on from me cheating? You know?
Yeah, I think that it's a cultural thing as well. And talking about the dynamics of their family and their relationship and, you know, that they kind of swiped it under the rug because they didn't like, that's what you do. And that none of her family knew. And so it's like, we're seeing it play out as if he just cheated on her.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would say my biggest complaint about the episode is our girl Tree.
Yeah, you have a problem with her.
I have a problem with her. And I have a problem. I don't know if my problem is with her, if the problem is with the rest of the cast and how they deal with her, because I don't understand why nobody is checking her and nobody is actually calling her out for her hypocrisy. Because we get the commentary in their confessionals where they, you know, Melissa will get shady of, you know, you have to talk to Tree a certain way. Like she just doesn't get it. It's like, okay, why aren't we having these conversations on camera? Like, why is somebody not calling her out? And a perfect example is when the whole Bill Aiden cheating rumor versus the Evan cheating rumor, and how she said they're two very different things. And when she goes, they're not the same thing. I want somebody to call her out and say, what do you mean? Explain it. Right. Explain how they're two different things. Right. Explain how what Marge did was worse than what you did. Break it down, because I feel like we constantly are allowing her to get these passes. And I do think that Teresa is maybe
there's something going on upstairs.
There's something going on upstairs where I think she may be intellectually stunted and she's trapped in this like 16-year-old girl phase and has never grown out of that. Like that's where she is mentally.
Yeah.
It's like a bratty, bitchy high school girl who doesn't use any logic or rationale in making decisions or in argument.
She's very emotional.
Yeah, very emotional. But I mean, when you sit down or when we watch these scenes with her and her children, it's night and day. Like,
I know
her children are so smart, are going to be extremely successful in life, are very calm, unemotional in terms of when speaking and giving advice, right?
Those kids have been through it.
They have. And I guess it's a testament, you know, to their, what they've dealt with in their childhood versus maybe the adversity that Teresa had in her childhood was
different,
much less or different. But I don't know. I have a problem with it. And I don't like that nobody calls her out on it. And they just let her, like, people just defer. It's like, it's just Tree. it's like when boys are mean, like that boys will be boys.
Boys will be boys.
Boys will be boys. It's like Teresa, that's just Teresa. It's like,
Right.
That's not appropriate. Like it doesn't, that's not how life works.
We should make those shirts like, you know how they have boys will be held accountable for their actions. We should make one that says Teresa will be held accountable for her actions.
Yes.
It really stuck out to me actually, because you were telling me this before I watched this episode of Jersey. And when I saw them in the locker room and there was the drama regarding the black leggings and Dolores grabbed her pair, and the hustle and stress of which she was encumbered with while putting these pants on. I was like, oh my God, is Teresa gonna like light her hair on fire if she doesn't wear these pants? Like what's gonna happen? She's like, I gotta get the pants. Teresa, okay, I gotta get the pants. I'm like, whoa. But you know what?
Do you think, would you have put the pants on?
Yes, I would have put the pants on. I would have put the pants on because, you know, it depends. Who am I in this situation? If I'm Marge, no, I wouldn't put the pants on because, you know, this is actually my biggest complaint of the episode. If we can like kind of mold them in together. I've heard a lot about Marge, and having known her for a couple weeks, I want to know when she gets likable. I don't like Marge, and I'm trying, and I want to like her because I feel like I'm supposed to. And I feel like I would maybe like her, or I'd want to like her, and I can't like her.
Yeah, she's having a rough season this year. I think so. And I do like Marge, but there are times where I very, very much disagree with her. And to quote Casey Wilson from Bitch Sesh, her rubber band mouth is difficult to watch at times.
Yeah. What is that?
I don't know. The girls on Bitch Sesh were talking about whether or not it's her lips or her teeth. They can't figure it out. But yeah, she's having an unlikable season right now. I think Dolores is the star of this season.
I do too.
Rightfully so.
And like, I don't know who David is, but I love him. And I'm so happy he's there to support the mom.
David and Frank.
Frank is such an angel baby. I love him. Don't tell me anything if it's going to break my heart.
Okay. Well, you know, that's a perfect segue. And let me just tell you, that wasn't planned. We're finally going to get into what this episode is all about. We are doing the breakdown of the Real Housewives of New Jersey House Husband special. We are going to talk about Mr. Frank Cantania. We're going to talk about Richard Wakili, and we're going to talk about Mr. Chris Laurita. And so brace yourself, Lauren.
Oh God.
Because Mr. Frank Cantania, I don't know if you're aware, but he was a licensed practicing attorney for quite some time. Yes. So Frank Cantania was admitted to the New Jersey bar on June 6th of 1991.
Oh my God. I was 6 months old.
Yeah. His primary practice was in real estate, which makes sense because I don't know if you've seen, but like they flip houses and do all that.
Okay. I was gathering he was in some sort of construction area. Okay.
And so I'm sorry to tell you, but in 2010, so Frank represented a couple and a couple regarding some real estate issue and deal that required some type of grant from the state because of a property location and stuff. And so they had to get this loan or this money from the bank, right? And so the couple signed a deal to purchase this home and discovered that they needed insurance.
As you do.
As you do. And for some reason it was called tile insurance. Like, what the fuck is tile insurance?
Tile insurance? Like they have to insure their tile?
This is from the page 6, everyone. So on the day of closing, right, of this whole real estate transaction.
Title? Title? Did you forget a T?
No, I swear it's a tile. Swear.
Wow. Interesting.
So anyways, they needed insurance. And so on the day of the closing, Wells Fargo Bank transfers and wires Frank Cantania $287,212.80.
Nice.
This is to go in the trust account. And then it's to be credited to the client. And as we have said multiple times before, the funds in the bank account are a big deal.
Yep.
So the
Keep it separate.
You got to keep it separate. And so the 190,000 payment remained in the trust account during this time. However, and this is where it gets bad, December of 2010, Frank then cut himself a check to the account of Catino Fitness for $150,000 using that money from the trust.
No.
So according to page 6, this money was transferred to Anthony Rotino, who was the owner of Catino Fitness.
What?
He had no connection to this real estate transaction, right? But with the purpose of this money then being just dispersed to cover the gym's payroll. And we've seen Catania Fitness. I believe this is the same guy. We've seen him on New Jersey. And honestly, him and Frank look like twins.
May I ask, who are they related? Like, what does Frank care about this? Oh,
they're friends.
Okay. So he loaned his friend money.
So then he cut another check.
Oh, good God.
To a law firm for legal fees. Again, this firm has no connection to the real estate sale.
Mm-hmm.
And the money was for services rendered to a Harley Davidson.
Oh, good God.
And it was another business that was owned by Frank and Rotino, right?
Huh.
So as we all, I mean, you and I know, I don't know if the general public knows, your bank account, if you own your own practice, or even, I mean, if you own your own firm in the state of California, at least, you can be randomly subjected to audits.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what happened with Mr. Frank. So his account was audited on June 25th, 2012. And during the audit, the investigator found that Frank did not keep a running balance of his client's ledgers. And the accounts came up short by $10,000 and another $503. So the investigator determined that the $10,000 gap was due to the check Frank cut to the law firm, which wasn't listed on the closing. And so the investigators told Frank, hey, you've got 2 weeks to deposit this money.
Uh-huh.
Do you think Frank did it?
Are you kidding? 10 grand? Just deposit 10 grand.
So Frank said that the shortage of funds was the result from a mistake made in advising the client the total amount of funds needed for the closing. And obviously we later find out that this isn't true.
Oh, he lied.
Yeah. And he also stated that his client let him move the funds to his own accounts as the accounts as loans, and that they should have been replaced, and he should have replaced the money sooner. I mean, that is so sketch.
That makes me sad though, because he's like, no, I'm sorry. It's only because he's a cutie that I'm all on his side. If this were, and it has been, Mr. Girardi, I'd be like, you fucking asshole.
I know, but there's something, he's so likable and he's so sweet
cute about him.
But unfortunately, in August of 2017, a panel for the state bar voted to disbar Mr. Catania.
Well, so they voted to do that way faster than they got rid of old Girardi over there. That's not fair.
Yeah. And so they voted to disbar him based on the misappropriation of his client's funds. And so this was brought up in one of the season reunions. Mm-hmm. And I saw some quotes from Dolores that she had, I mean, of course, their ex-husband, ex-wife, but they are so connected. I figured that Dolores would have known.
Right.
But according to Dolores, she had no idea. And the first time she found out was when Andy Cohen brought it up during the reunion.
Do you think that's true?
I think that she probably found out like backstage or maybe like a couple days before, but
you think he didn't tell her anything?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, it's embarrassing, but I feel like they talk about a lot of stuff. Like they, to me, feel like the two best friends that anyone can have. Like they've talked about so much that it's like, what's 10 grand? I mean, they flip fucking houses like, and Frank can depend on her so much that I would expect her to give him 10,000.
But the flipping of the homes came after he was disbarred.
Oh,
my understanding, because in the early seasons when Dolores was on, Frank was in a suit, like working.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was so disappointing. And I do find it interesting that it was kind of just like breezed over, it was brought up in the reunion, but like nobody ever questioned it.
Yeah.
After that, but do you think it's because he's got such a good character and like he's so sweet and he's lovable? Like if he was more of a Bill Aiden, it would be an issue that's constantly
1,000%. I mean, look at how I just fell into a pile of putty at his feet. When I'm vehemently hold the men accountable. In this case, I'm like, oh my God, he's so cute. He didn't mean it. That's bad.
I mean, it's bad. And it makes you think, how many other times has this happened outside of the audit? That was, yeah. And I'm sure because you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and you're getting ahead of yourself, and you're, somebody asks you for money and you say, oh, I see $150,000, just chilling in my account. Why not? And I know I can reimburse it and refund it based on you can't do that. And I mean, it's really shady and very sketchy.
If he had repaid the 10 grand or the $10,500, this whole thing would have gone away.
Maybe it would have just been a disciplinary action. I don't know. I guess
we don't have enough information available.
I don't know though, because why would the state? Part of me thinks the state bar would have. Maybe it would have been a suspension instead of a complete disbarment.
Exactly. Like, to me, when we're talking, like, to a lot of people, including myself, paying $10,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But to someone who's very okay writing a check for $150,000, who's running a big business, who has family that has $10,000 right there available, I cannot understand how you wouldn't pay that to maintain your license. You can make that in a month. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
So Frankie, so Frankie no longer a practicing or licensed attorney. And I'm pretty sure, I don't think you can get licensed in another state if you've been just barred from another state.
That's an interesting question. Probably not. I feel like it'd show up on your moral character, because it's like, if you're untrustworthy in New Jersey, why would you be trustworthy in, Tennessee?
And my research has led me to draw the conclusion that New Jersey is very financially corrupt. And I don't know if it goes back to the mob days or what. I mean, if you want more detail on the mob, go listen to our Manzo episode.
I know, Manzo to the mob. It was good.
But because the next topic we're going to talk about is Mr. Richard Wakili. Are you familiar with this name at all?
I am, because I did meet that lady once with the big
Kathy.
Fluffy black hair, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
An interesting way to describe her.
Oh, does she not have fluffy black? That's how I remember her. Fluffy black hair.
No, she does. But I think people would have gone for the eyes as a descriptor before the hair.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I watch on my iPad, so it's like I see what I see.
Yeah, and I don't know how you never mind. Okay, so you guys, Richard Wakili, this one's kind of fun. This is more upbeat than losing your entire career and being totally disbarred. So Richard Wakili was ordered to pay an outstanding debt.
Oh my God.
And this is so funny. So Richie was taken to small claims court by Natural Paradise Landscaping over a $2,000 unpaid bill.
Oh my God, these people are ridiculous.
So the judge ruled against him in court. And so according to the owner of Natural Paradise Landscaping, he was originally hired to do landscaping for the Wakilis. He performed the services for like over an entire year, but he was never paid. So he finally cut the services after in October of 2011.
Jeez, it's a long time to wait.
So according to I know, right?
I would never wait that long. I'd be like, it's been a month.
But this kind of made, so according to the owner, he said that he saw Wakili and told him to pay the bills. He kept asking him to pay. He sent him the bill. And whenever he would call him, Wakili would allegedly say, just fucking sue me then, and would hang up. And this kind of tracks because Richard Wakili had kind of a hot temper. And he was kind of, I don't know what the right word, like
a
hothead, but he always had like his pop collar and his bright polo and his crazy colored glasses.
He's a fuck boy.
Kind of.
My dad's a lawyer kind of guy.
Yes. Yeah. Like, sue me. Do it.
My dad's a lawyer. I dare you.
And so I guess he would also say things, Wakili, to the business owner, would also say things to the effect of like, who the fuck do you think you are? I'll smash your face in if I ever hear you ask for money again.
Oh my God.
And allegedly he would He allegedly, according to the business owner, Wakili would follow him around and harass him, like come to some of his other sites that he was working on, take photos of his license plate. Like,
what?
yes.
$2,000? This is so weird.
Okay, so on October 24, 2021, the judge ruled against Richie and said that he was responsible for part of the bill and ordered him to only pay $792.34,
okay,
plus $22 in court fees. And I guess according to the article on Radar Online, Wakili just like cut a check for $822 and was like, here you go. Or like $815, cut it and was like, bye.
Oh my God. He just wanted a deal. That's it. He's like, no, fuck it. I can get this for cheaper.
But it's like, why? Like, why go to small claims court when you know you're in the wrong? Like, you know the evidence is stacked against you, that he performed a service you didn't pay.
Right.
But my question to you is, why do you think it was cut in half? Like, why do you think he was only required to pay like $800? Like, what about where's the rest?
I wonder if, okay, here's the other thing. I don't know how much a gardener costs, but I'm pretty sure for a whole year, would it be more than $2,000? I mean, it seems like a difficult job to do, especially in New Jersey, where it seems like they have a lot of weather.
They probably come once a month, I would assume, or maybe he was just doing landscaping like for a specific reason, like he was in charge of like cutting the hedges or like maintaining the succulents.
$170 a month.
Like,
I mean, come on.
Maybe Wakili didn't like what the landscaper was doing and didn't think that he was living up to what the contract said. There's something deeper there.
Because I'm sorry, I wouldn't be like, I really don't appreciate the way you're pruning my roses, but please continue to come back week after week, like for a year.
And then when you call me asking for me to pay the bill, fuck you.
Fuck you. I bet you that what had happened was for real. I bet you that like the gardener or the man, one of the two, like did something embarrassing, and the other one was holding it against them, or it's something deeper than the $2,000. It's like mob shit, and so they're suing for $2,000. You know. Because you don't stalk someone for like rose garden.
Like, why the threatening to smash your face in? Like, where does that?
Dude, people take their lawns very
seriously.
Like, I had a neighbor across the street growing up, and she and my dad would duke it fucking out for what was it, like yard of the year or something? Like, you'd get a sign, all the neighbors would vote, and you would stick a sign in your yard if you were yard of the year. Like, it's serious. People will tend to their yards. People will mow their lawns in straight lines.
Maybe, I mean, and of course, like in Jersey, you'll get your face smashed in, right?
Yeah, exactly. If it's crooked.
Oh my God, so funny.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on to our last topic for the evening or for the morning. What?
It's 3:30 here.
My brain's fried. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
We're talking about Chris Laurita, everyone. And Lauren, do you know who he is?
Jacqueline's husband. I remember Jacqueline.
Okay, so are you catching on to a theme here? Because we're in bankruptcy fraud land.
I kind of like it.
A lot of money issues.
I like a money crime.
Lots of money issues. And so Mr. Chris Laurita, Jacqueline's husband, as we all know, they were like the OGs of Jersey. And I kind of miss them actually. And I hope that I think they might bring her back.
Oh,
I do. I actually do. So anyways, if you've watched Jersey, you know that the Lauritas are like very much entrepreneurs with the Manzos. Like they're always creating companies. They created the Blackwater. They created the popcorn company. But I guess he also had this other company called Signature Apparel.
Oh.
And I think that was like his main company. So this is all related to Signature Apparel.
Okay.
So in 2009, a judge found Chris liable for fraud in connection with a protracted bankruptcy case regarding Signature Apparel. So they have filed bankruptcy back in 2009. And in 2010, the court ordered a person to settle like the company's affairs and assets and all of that, right?
Mm-hmm. Wind it up.
So during that, this person who was designated by the court filed a lawsuit against Chris and Jacqueline Laurita as well as other family members who were involved in this company and this business for allegedly using signature apparel bank accounts to pay for private jets, lavish vacations, and expensive cars. You guys.
Oh my God.
So the person that was designated by the court also accused the Lauritas of, so throughout the proceedings, right? He ends up, the person that was designated by the court says they're trying to plead this poverty tactic to delay kind of the wrap up of this bankruptcy, to delay, disadvantage, or thwart their creditors by citing that publicly available information, including a social media post in which Laurita boasted about remodeling their home, undergoing plastic surgery, and in television programs in which Laurita claims to be operating a profitable business. So during the proceedings, they're like, the Lauritas are allegedly saying, look, we're poor, like we can't do this, we can't pay off our assets or debts or whatever. But then the guy who's in charge of settling the whole bankruptcy is like, okay, well, here's the contradictory evidence. You guys are boasting on social media, because Jacqueline was in this phase of like plastic surgery, and she would boast about it on her Instagram. They talked about having profitable companies and living lavishly on the New Jersey Housewives. Like, I mean, they had a very nice home.
That's why you can't do things like that on TV.
Well, and it's interesting because Teresa at one point brought up this whole lawsuit and was like, what if I started talking about your husband's legal issues? Because, you know, Teresa would get really mad at Jacqueline for bringing up what was going on in her life. And I guess I was not really aware that it was this bad. So like,
here's the thing that I think is interesting is this is just like all of these fraud claims, mostly for like these big rich people. But okay, they are all copy and paste, even with the Girardis and everyone. It's like these rich people who file bankruptcy, aka Erica Jane too. Oh my God, we're so poor. Like I've downgraded all this stuff. And it's like, okay, but you're living in a big house. Also, you're remodeling. And also like, it's really hard to feel bad for you being poor when you just did fraud. You know what I mean?
Well, it's hard for people to wrap their head around that argument that you're impoverished. And it's like the only reason why you're impoverished is because the courts have stopped you illegally using and misappropriating funds.
Right.
And so now you need to live the life that you are deserving of, you should be living.
Right.
Because you've been living beyond your means for way too long. And you've been doing it in a fraudulent manner.
And it's like, look at the people who are really living in an impoverished life. Like, Jacqueline, like, come on.
So the judge ultimately found that Chris was liable for fraud, negligent misappropriation, and tortious interference with contractual relationships for diverting some of the signature apparel's assets, and that goes back to the jets, the lavish cars, the vacations. And he was also found liable for breach of fiduciary duty with another company. It's called Iconics. He has a bunch of like shell companies and very, very New Jersey entrepreneur. And he was also found liable for aiding and abetting his fiduciary duties. So just a breakdown of what fiduciary duties are. So a breach of a fiduciary duty occurs when the fiduciary acts in the interest of themselves. So the fiduciary in this case is Laurita, right? Rather than the best interest of the company. And so Laurita's actions must be free of conflicts of interest and self-dealing. So as a fiduciary, you can't use the principle for your own personal advantage, which is exactly what he's doing allegedly in this case, right?
You're supposed to act in the best interest of the business.
Exactly.
And what he did was he was acting in the best interest of him at the expense of the business. So
you have to be acting, and you always have to act in good faith, right? And you're always putting the business before your own self-interest. And so as the fiduciary,
you can't do things like that.
You can't do things like that. And it's like, maybe you should lose your fiduciary duties. Forever. Right. And it was so bad at one point, this whole lawsuit, it was so bad that Chris and Jacqueline's attorney asked to be removed from the case because the couple owed them almost $300,000 in unpaid legal fees.
Dude.
So it's like, why are, like, I guess I just don't have the mentality of a person that's trying to live beyond their means, like excessively and lavishly. It's like,
yeah,
if you know that you're already in debt, right? And potentially, I mean, in this case, found liable for this fraudulent activity. I know you want to hire good attorneys, right? To try to mitigate, and represent you and present a strong defense. But it's like, find an attorney that you can actually pay for.
Right.
Like, you don't need to be going to, the major firm in Jersey.
Exactly. It's like somebody else can do the job just as well for a little bit more affordable of a price. And
like, I guess it's like shame on you too, to like the attorneys for taking on the case, knowing that, because most of the time, you guys, I would say 99.9% of the time, you have to put a retainer down whenever you hire an attorney.
Unless it's under $750.
Or if it's a contingent, right?
Right.
And so in this case, I'm assuming that he had to put down what? $100,000 maybe?
Yeah.
I mean,
there's divorces in Orange County where the retainer is like 50 grand. So I'm sorry, but if there's a divorce going for that, like a major fraud is probably a little more.
Well, and it doesn't sound like the attorneys, I mean, who knows? They probably did a great job, right? But the judge ultimately ordered him to pay Mr. Laurita to pay $1.8 million back to the Signature Apparel Group.
Oh my God.
So during all of this, though, I do want to remind you, like, obviously they're having financial woes. Their house is like in and out of foreclosure.
Oh, wow.
And they were able to eventually.
How stressful.
Yeah. They were able to eventually pay off the loan, or I guess like reconfigure the loan. But at one point in 2019, Chris was selling items from their home on Facebook Marketplace.
Ooh.
And I don't understand the mentality of the Jersey housewives, because Teresa, I feel like it's very similar to the whole Teresa Giudice situation and the Lauritas, where it's like they've refused to give up their home.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that like your home is a part of your life, like your kids grew up there, there's so many memories, but if you're facing so much financial hardship ahead, like, why not just get rid of it?
Downsize. Yeah.
Because the Lauritas they have a fat house, huge.
The thing I don't get is if you owe someone $1.8 million, like, I think you should have stuff that's a little higher quality than offerable on Facebook Marketplace. Like, I feel like you should have like some Christie shit. You know what I mean?
Things that could be sold on the Real.
Right. Like, let's get some the Real going. Like, why are we on Facebook Market? What are you selling? Like an Ikea bookshelf? How many do you have? I mean, well, I'm going to answer my own question. Look at Miss Jen Shaw's closet. Have like 47 of those Ikea bookshelves. So
no, you know that the women in Jersey have a different style. I mean, it's very gaudy.
That's very true. Yeah.
But
you know who would do great there?
Who?
Luann Curtin and her cuff. Remember her from Orange County?
You're right.
Yeah.
Very classic sky tops.
Very classic sky tops. Shout out.
Well, those are the only house husbands I decided to talk about today. I know you guys are probably screaming at me through the headphones or screaming in your car that there are so many more things to talk about. We know Joe Benigno and Margaret Joseph were sued. They had the settlement. Joe Giudice, of course. There is some Joe Gorga out there. But I decided not to talk about it because it's all very speculative.
Yeah.
There's allegations that he's running a Ponzi scheme. There's allegations that they had $2 million in debt. There's also allegations that he stole from Home Depot.
Wow.
Yeah. And I couldn't find enough, I feel like, hard evidence to talk about it on this podcast. Cause I mean, yes, we're speaking allegedly, but a lot of the cases we talk about, there's court record, right?
And we're getting a lot of the information like from other people who said it first.
So we will be doing a more detailed, probably a very lecture-y episode on the Giudices, because we've been promising it, I feel like, for almost a year now that we're going to talk about it. And that just deserves its own episode.
especially because I wasn't involved and I want to be involved.
And the Margaret Josephs of it all deserves its own episode as well, because there is a drama.
That's Marge, right?
Yeah.
Margaret is Marge.
There's like crazy drama with the company that she owned, and then having $180,000 settlement, or some settlement that it wasn't paid.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's very interesting. I think there's like intellectual property issues as well.
Wow. Ooh.
Jersey, I'm telling you, this is why Jersey is the best.
Wow. All right. Well, you know what? I'm starting to believe you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Still in disagreement, see above, regarding Noella and whatever her name is that I can't stand.
Guess what? We're putting a poll on our Instagram, and we're going to see who is more likable, Heather or Noella.
That's not fair. The propaganda machine is really going against Noella.
No,
Okay, we'll put it to the vote. Okay, anything else?
That's it. That is it.
I have a bone to pick, and it's my criminal behavior. Do you mind if we say?
Okay, go.
Okay, I'm fucking pissed at the commercials these days, because I'm a commercial watching girly. I watch the show for the commercials. You won't catch me paying extra for commercial free. If there's something with mayhem in it, I'm watching. Liberty Mutual, I'm in on it. Start the car, Ikea commercials, I will say over and over and over. The fact that they are starting to sprinkle celebrities into my commercials has triggered me into a place I don't appreciate.
What? Celebrities have always been in commercials.
Not like they are now. Like they are now.
So they're branching out of just like the typical hair commercial, makeup commercial.
Exactly.
You're seeing them in.
It's like, you're not just a cover girl. Fine. Okay. We've all been a part of that for our whole life. I don't need to see Zooey Deschanel shilling me a fucking Verizon phone. Fuck off, Zoe. The other one, I know. See, I'm telling you, it gets me heated. The other one is the refrigerator commercials. With like armchair expert guy and that girl I can't stand, Kristen Stewart.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh my God. It's
Dax Shepard.
Yes. And his wife, they're always shilling. She does like couches and this and that.
Okay.
And
here.
Like, do your own line. I just don't want to see it.
I have an example for you. Freddie Prinze Jr. and Sarah Michelle Gellar were in a Cascade dishwasher commercial.
Get out. I don't want to see it. What I want to see is two people who I've never met before wearing very plain outfits, loading incredibly fake dirty dishes into a washing machine. That's what I want.
And also, let's keep give the commercials to the normal people,
to the rest of us. I know. Yeah. Oh my gosh. George Glass and I really got into it about it this morning, because he's saying, Lauren, really honestly, who are you to tell people where the line is for money making? And I said, honestly, I'm me, and I'm telling everybody. So
that was a hot take. Well,
it was a hot take, and I don't care if it was chaotic. That's how I feel.
Well, my next one might be a little controversial, because my criminal behavior is very I've kept it Real Housewives of New Jersey themed. Mm-hmm. It is Mr. Joe Gorga's Instagram account and his stand-up comedian stand-up career.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think there's much I need to say about the stand-up career. I think we're all in agreement that
it's a lot.
It's a lot, but the Instagram account is what I really want to focus on. And so I don't know if you have ever ventured to Joe Gorga's Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Of course I have. It's everywhere.
It's riddled with inspirational quotes. Mm-hmm. For example, I have a photo of Joe Gorga pointing his finger up, like the number 1. And above it, there's a quote that says, "The fakest are those ones that brag about being real," at Joe Gorga. And then another one of him with his,
oh my God, dead.
Him buttoning up a suit. It says, "Be teachable. You're not always right." And then there's a photo of Melissa Gorga, and it says, "When you marry an Italian woman, not only do you get a wife, you get a chef, a nurse, and a private investigator, all in one.
Oh my God.
And
she looks great there, though.
No, she looks fabulous.
Yeah.
I can't handle it. And the fact though, that he is going to be at, like, he's headlining. I guess he's headlining. Like, he's headlining the Improv.
You know what? They will let mediocre men do anything. This should be, everybody turn this up. You need to hear this. This is your sign to do the thing you wanted to do.
Like,
You've been sitting on that thing. Do it.
Why does Mr. Joe Gorga, who's 5'4", how is he so confident that he's going on a comedy tour? Like, never once have I thought, wow, Joe Gorga's funny.
I know, right?
Never.
Do your thing, everybody. Do your thing. Do your thing. Start your podcast. Start your clothing shop. Get up on a stage and do it. Because if Joe Gorga can do it, being not funny, you can too.
But if you do decide to start that business, just make sure you don't breach those fiduciary.
Oh my God.
duties.
Keep the money separate. All the money stays in one account. And how about this? Do what we do. It's all at a whole nother bank.
Yep.
A whole other bank. Just make it hard,
Make it hard. Don't touch it.
Yeah, don't touch it. Okay, well, that was such a great episode. Thank you so much for enlightening me on all of this. Like, it really has just really pushed me to observe Jersey from before now. Again. So I think I will, but I'm not starting at 1. I will be starting at 8 or something. Because
I'll tell you where to start. How about that?
Okay. I appreciate that. Okay, everybody. Well, follow us on Instagram at Allegedly Bravo, Twitter at Allegedly Bravo, Patreon at Allegedly Bravo. Shout out to our #1 VIP patrons, Classic Skytops, CK, and Mr. or Mrs. Smith. You guys are the best. We love you. This podcast is available everywhere you can listen to podcasts. Don't forget to go out and give us a 5-star rating. And you
buy
can
yourself some merch.
Buy merch. Oh my gosh. We just put out a new sweatshirt. I haven't even posted it on Instagram yet, but we're reinstating what we've said before. Kim is not a lawyer.
No, she is not.
And we have a hoodie to fucking prove it.
And we'll have other hoodies too that say Cash is a lawyer. And once Lauren passes that bar, girl.
Yeah. And mine now will say Lauren is my paralegal.
Lauren's my law clerk.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you guys, it was wonderful chatting, of course.
Of course.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.